At shortstop, number 2, Derek Jeter, number 2.
Tonight, not far from here, there will be an emotional gathering in the Bronx, provided the weather cooperates. This will be the last home game for one of the greatest players in the game, one of the greatest of all time. The captain of the Yankees, number 2, as you heard, Derek Jeter. Baseball fans in their 20s have never known another Yankee shortstop in their lifetime. Yankee fans in their 80s can say they saw DiMaggio and Gehrig and Mantle, and now Jeter.
I always wanted to be a shortstop for the Yankees since I was 4 years old, and been fortunate to do it. But everything that comes along with it wasn't part of the dream. I mean, it's all icing on the cake.
If the old place was the house that Ruth built, then this Yankee Stadium is most certainly the one that Jeter built. And on a crisp autumn day, as much as he'd prefer to be heading for the playoffs, Derek Jeter instead is giving thanks as he heads for the exit.
I'm very appreciative of how the fans have treated me, how the people of New York, and especially this season, even going to opposing ballparks. The whole situation has been surreal to me.
Standing ovations at all the visiting ballparks for the man the commissioner says has honored the game simply by playing it. It's hard to be a saint in this city, but over the past 2 decades, if you don't count the sports pages, Derek Jeter has largely stayed out of the papers, in stark contrast to the ugliness unraveling in the NFL. A rare, kid-friendly, parent-friendly athlete who has learned how to be a leader.
I learned something from watching Mr. Torre for all these years. You always hear the phrase, you treat everyone the same. Well, that's not correct. You treat everyone fairly. You got to try to be the same every day. You don't come and hold your head up high when things are going well, and then when things are going bad, you find a way to hide. Leadership, I don't think, is something that's appointed. I think it's something that's earned.
You've had so much success, yet you always call this a game of failure. Why is that?
You fail 7 out of 10 times, people think you're great. So it's definitely a game you have to learn to control your emotions, and I'm still trying to do that.
Hit toward the hole, Jeter backhands from the outfield grass.
On the field, he has given his all. We have seen him flip and dive and go down, but we've only been able to see what's on the field because that's the way he has wanted it.
I have always drawn the line between what I do as a career and my private life. I think once you open that door and you share everything with everyone, there's no closing it. You have to keep something special, and for me, my private life is what I like to keep special.
Talk about the length of the career. You obviously had the ankle injury a season ago, a little bit of a shoulder issue, but aside from that, you've been extremely durable. How do you think you've been able to do that?
When I talk to people, they assume when you have a game, you show up at 6:30. You jump rope and then you go out there and play. But I work extremely hard, and not only during the season, but the off season as well. I hate excuses. I don't want to hear them. I don't make them. In my opinion, you either play or you don't. And if you play, no one wants to hear about what's bothering you. But I've taken a lot of pride in going out there every day and doing my job.
You had an incredible support system at home, but you also had some incredible teammates along the way. What made the core force so special?
We all had the same mindset, and we had that mindset from the minor leagues coming up, and we enjoyed winning. We were spoiled early on, but we worked extremely hard. None of us made excuses.
Do you think you would have been as successful as you are if it weren't for the support system and those guys?
I wouldn't have been successful without the support system of a lot of people. There are a few of them. You mentioned my parents. There's been managers, there's been coaches. I think everyone needs a good support.
We were asked during the press conference about being grouped with Ruth, Gehrig, Mantle, and DiMaggio, and you said you don't want to be grouped with those people, even though we're all going to do it. But what do you want your legacy to be? You've got one more year to add to that legacy. When someone talks about Derek Jeter 20 years from now, what would you like them to say?
Well, like some of the things I said up there, I tried to have respect for everyone that I played with, everyone I played for. The organization, the fans, my opponents, I try to have respect for everyone. So respectful is good, but being a Yankee is important to me, and it's always been important to me. And I've always said from day one, it's the only place I want to play. And I've been fortunate to have the opportunity to finish my career here in New York.
You've said from the first year you've been up here with the Yankees in play, your #1 goal is to win a championship. But knowing that this is your last year, are there any personal goals you hope to accomplish this year as well?
See, that's always been a personal goal too. You know, my personal goals are the same as the team goals, and that's to win. And it's always been that way. I was spoiled to win early on, win a lot early on, and it took a while and showed everyone how difficult it is to win. But my personal and team goals are exactly the same.
The captain's event we're doing on Monday night, I've been looking forward to trying to organize you, Mark Messier, Eli Manning. Do you watch other leaders? Do you watch other captains? Like, have you drawn from those guys at all? Have you been able to, in your leadership style?
Well, I mean, I'm fans of athletes from all different sports. I've never tried to emulate anyone else. I've tried to be myself. I've learned a lot from watching guys, you know, especially guys when I was younger. But I think in terms of leadership, I think leadership is viewed differently by different people. I mean, there's people that lead by example. There's people that are vocal leaders, people that do a little bit of both. I think you just have to be who you are. You know,
How would you categorize your leadership?
A little bit of both. You know, I really try to take the time to get to know the people that I'm leading. I think that's most important. You know, I don't think you walk around as a self-proclaimed leader. You know, I think if you do things the right way, you're honest with people, you know, people may tend to follow. But, you know, I don't put on a show. I don't do things in front of a camera. You know, I've had plenty of conversations with teammates behind closed doors. And, you know, I've always heard, oh, you're not vocal. He's not vocal. He just lead by example. But, you know, how would people know unless they're behind closed doors? So I have no problem with that. Like I said, I think the most important aspect of leadership is getting to know the people that you're leading.